showed that for inward sponsorship that it should be applied to companies who are actually giving us sponsorship, and that's one specific example as to where the policy has changed in relation to that. You will notice, I think it's on page 11 of the corporate sponsorship policy, that it is now recommended that the policy of the council is that it requires businesses and organisations to demonstrate that they are socially responsible, and this must include a commitment to pay the living wage. So that's just one specific example, Chair.
Well, just on that, John, I thought that was our I'm quite surprised that wasn't our original stance, because I quite clearly remember that being discussed and that being recommended, that it would be the living wage. So I'm a bit surprised around that, but I know I'm glad that that's in.
Thanks for that. Councillor Mary Garrity.
Just in, Chair, to propose recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Councillor Bernice Swift.
Yeah, Gurmagat Cahirlock, just on the Appendix 2, and it's really just to point out the bottom of the page of, I think it's, what do we see now? I'll scroll to the top, oh, it must be page 3. But anyway, where it says political opinion, and it breaks down the current political opinion of the council's elected members, and it shows parties, then small parties and independent 4 seats. That wouldn't actually indicate what the political opinion would be, say, for example, of the 4 independents. It's just a description, if you understand the point I'm trying to make here, look, rather than stating the current political opinion, where it would be obvious, perhaps with the parties and alliance. Indeed, CCLA probably would need better explanation as well for everybody externally. And while I know the breakdown is taken as an approximate, as it states underneath, it's probably not the best description of what a political opinion would be, because as we all know, the independents would be of different political opinion. Do you understand the point I'm making, Cahirlock?
Yes, clear enough. Councillor, just give John a minute to...
Oh, thank you. I just wasn't sure there if the mute was on and off. Right, thank you.
Oh no, we heard you loud and clear.
Good, thank you. Tommy, Gurmagat.
Yes, Chair. I understand what the member is saying, all right. One of the categories, though, of Section 75 is political opinion, and I suppose it's something we can look at, Chair, in relation to, I know exactly what the member is talking about, so something we'll look into, yes.
Thank you for that, John, because I've just engaged with the Good Relations audit today, and it was something that I brought up under Section 75, where sometimes, you know, that Section 75 form would show nationalist, unionist and other, and obviously we would like to make room for the other political opinion, of which many people have. So thank you for that, John. Gurmagat, Tommy, and I can second the documents. Gurmagat.
Vernice, Cordial O'Coffey, you wish to add something?
Yeah, Chair. First of all, it's just in regard to what Councillor Green had raised, and I would just like to reinforce really what his point was that the issue of a living wage was certainly raised previously by ourselves, by myself as well, and I thought it was adopted before we went out to consultation, so it certainly wouldn't be an example I would have thought of how a consultation had changed the result. But I actually welcome the question that has been raised, because I think it's a very important one to ask. What exactly has changed as a result of the consultation? And I think it is a question that should be asked right across the board. So if possible, in future after a consultation, I think there should be some form of an indication as to the outcomes of the consultation, so that these are real exercises rather than just paper exercises. Insofar as the issue of politics, obviously not all of our politics can be neatly defined in the triumvirate of categories. I certainly wouldn't categorize myself or my party as either nationalist or unionist. Thank you, Chair.
Gurmagat, maybe just for correctness, maybe a triumvirate is not a politically correct nowadays, Donald. But that's the last members with hands up. Three remaining up. If you could remove them, members, please. We have a proposed and seconder. Everyone happy? Thank you, members. Moving on to item 11.4, age-friendly service level agreement. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Chair. This is in relation, members, to the Public Health Agency service level agreement with Southwest Age Partnership. This is an ongoing service level agreement that we have. The Public Health Agency contract with us for 45,000, and the proposed value of our service level agreement as match funding for that is 6,450. So it is recommended that the Council enters into a service level agreement to the value of £6,450 with Southwest Age Partnership to support the delivery of the age-friendly programme in 2020-21. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, John. Collier Coffee.
My apologies, my hand's up.
Thanks, Donal. Earl Thompson. Collier Thompson. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Well, I want to propose a recommendation as listed at number 8. And I want to commend the Southwest Age Partnership in conjunction and working with our council officers. So, formally propose the recommendation, Chair.
Thanks for that, Earl. And Councillor Swift, Collier Swift.
Yes, I'm happy to second that and also acknowledge the great work that's gone on there, particularly with the age-friendly keeping fit and well at home during the COVID times, the books launched by Mary Peters that have been distributed to the council. So well done to everyone involved. Garmagat.
Garmagat, Arish. Proposed and seconded, no hands up. Everyone happy with that? Thank you, members. Moving on to 11.5, consultation on the revised guidance to the supply of wild game for human consumption.
Yes, thank you,
Over
Chair.
to John.
Thanks, Chair. The purpose of the report is to inform members of the Environmental Health Service response to the Food Standards Agency consultation on the supply of wild game for human consumption. The guidance itself doesn't really make any change in policy, but it rather reflects the clarity around EU regulations for the wild game industry, mainly for hunters, for processors and retailers who shoot and supply wild game. You'll notice from the response which was made from Environmental Health that most of it is regarding language that was included in the consultation, so there are no major changes in policy. Chair, it's therefore recommended that the Council notes the consultation response on the updated guidance to the supply of wild game for human consumption. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, John. No members indicating. Could I have a proposer and seconder?
Proposed, Tommy. Bernice here.
Seconded.
Sorry, who second?
Donal here. Donal.
Who Donal Garmagat? All agreed? Thank you. Now moving on to item 11.6, consultation on amendments to retained EU law for food and safety hygiene at the end of the transition period.
Chairman, Alec here, on a point of order. Can I ask what agenda you're working on? Is it the original agenda or the revised agenda that came out for the reconvened meeting? It's just the numbers. We're on item 7.4. For why?
I do apologise, Alex.
I can understand if that's it, but
again, I'm following down the list of the original from the original meeting. I do apologise, Alex. I wasn't sure there was a difference. Bear with me, members, and I'll correct the numbers, please. Bear with me.
It shows that some of us are awake.
I suspect we're going to get some comments on this from some fans that we had. So I'm glad to hear everyone's awake.
Thanks for that, Seamus. So I now believe in the new agenda is moving on to 7.4. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of the report is to again inform members of the Environmental Health Service response to another Food Standards Agency consultation on amendments to retained EU law for food safety to ensure that the retained EU law relating to food and feed safety and hygiene remain effective at the end of the transition period for Brexit. You'll note again that the the number of comments in relation to it are quite limited, and it is very much in the purpose that EU law would remain very much in place for food hygiene. The recommendation, therefore, Chair, is that the Council notes the consultation response on amendments to retain the EU law for food and feed safety and hygiene for the end of the transition period. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, John. Caller O'Coffey.
Thank you, Chair. There's a query in 2.3 of the paper. It states the issue is to fix the inoperability of retained EU law. Now, the question is really whether that is existing EU law or whether it will retain the operability of future EU law. My reading of this is that the commitment made only covers existing EU legislation. So if EU law changes, we will no longer maintain the operability of the future regulations, if you get me. And that over time, this could result in the need for some form of controls north-south, I suspect, and fear. So I'm just wondering if that interpretation is correct. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, John.
Yes, Chair, that would be my understanding, is that the EU law as it stands at the end of the transition period would be very much operable, but any future EU law would not apply to the EU or to the UK, and therefore changes in legislation would be required if we wanted to stay in line with EU.
Thanks for that, John. Donal, your hand's still up. Do you wish to comment, Arif?
Well,
No.
Chair, it's obviously of some grave concern to this county's economy if that's a prospect. So I'm just not that happy with this as it stands. So thank you.
Thanks for that, Donal. Could we have someone to propose and second the recommendation? Earl, you have your hand up. That's to propose, yes?
Propose the recommendation as listed, Chair.
And Howard, your hand's up. That's to second.
That's correct, Chair.
Thanks for that, members. Moving on. 7.5, Environmental Health Delegated Decision Record.
Thank you, Chair. This is a quarterly report from Environmental Health of their delegated decisions for the period July, August and September, and actually includes a couple for June also, because due to the COVID crisis, there were no delegated decision reported for that period of time. They are listed in the appendix, and it is recommended that the Council notes the formal actions detailed in the delegated decision record, July to September 2020, taken by Environmental Health Service on behalf of the Council in accordance with the scheme of delegation. Thank you, Chair.
Well, good, John. Councillor Thornton.
I propose to note, Chair.
Thank you, Howard. And could we have someone to second there? Councillor Coffey.
I'm happy to second it. Can I just request a further report, though? There seems to be quite a lot of uncertainty around specifically what are the Council's responsibilities in regard to environmental health and infection controls around COVID. I've heard a variety of indications in regard to what is and what is not the responsibilities and role of our council, and there seems to be different messages coming from different organisations and even different messages coming from the same individuals at different times. So if I could have, I would propose just to have a report back on the exact role and responsibilities of the council, maybe showing how that's changed over time. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Donal. And Corey? None all right?
Yeah, I'm happy to second that proposal.
Thanks for that, Siobhan. I think Donal had already, in his preamble, had seconded. Thanks, Siobhan. Anyway, everyone happy? No dissenting voices. Thank you, members. Moving on.
Sorry, Chair, can I just clarification there?
Sorry, is your hand working, Emmett? No?
Sorry, Chair, it's just a point of clarity there in terms of whether Councillor Curry was actually seconding Councillor O'Coffey's proposal. or the original proposal to note. Because if she wasn't seconding Councillor O'Coffey's proposal, I would second that. But I took it to mean she was actually seconding Donald's proposal.
Yes, okay, Hurley, I would second Donald's proposal there.
So, Gurma, for that, just clarifying there, I did believe that Donald was just requesting a report. I didn't know that he needed to propose. I was just the indication now is that Donald did propose that, and Corey has seconded that. Thanks for that clarification, Gurma. Moving on now to item 8, the correspondence. And who's dealing with this? Kim. And over to Kim for this. Thank you, member.
Okay, Chair. So the first item of correspondence is from the Health and Safety Executive, and it's really just clarification following correspondence from the Council as to how the appointments are made to the Executive and whether this includes councillor representation. It's for noting.
Councillor Dehan, Collier Dehan.
Thank you, Chair. Proposed to note, please.
Romayagat and Earl Thompson.
Thank you, Chair. Seconded to note.
Thanks for that, Earl. No further hands up. All members happy? Very well, members. Moving on. Item 8.2.
Thank you, Chair. 8.2 is correspondence from NILGA, and it's in relation to correspondence from the Council in respect of the former Agriculture Committee, which NILGA had, and the representation and how appointments are made from the 11 councils. And the NILGA correspondence now notes that following the last election, they had reshaped their working groups, and the Agriculture Liaison Group is now encompassed within NILGA's Economy and International Affairs Policy and Learning Network, and the Council's representation is through Councillor Paul Robinson and the Head of Tourism and Economic Development.
Thanks for that, Kim. Collier Paul Blake, Councillor Blake.
Yeah, propose for noting, Chair.
Thanks for that, Paul. Earl Thompson, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Self-explanatory, Chairman. Second the note. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Earl. And we have Collier Green.
I'm not sure what maybe Kim can clarify what the reason was that was put into. Can you repeat that again? Where the agriculture group has been incorporated into what?
The letter tells us that following the last council elections, NILGA reshaped their working groups, and the current group is the Economy and International Affairs Policy and Learning Network, which covers a range of issues, including rural development and international affairs. So they have indicated that while it doesn't specifically identify agricultural issues, that those issues can be picked up under the themes of rural development and international affairs within that particular group.
Thanks, Kim. I'd be really disappointed that agriculture has been demoted, because that's what it seems to be, has been lumped into something where it's actually not even mentioned in the group that it has been put into. Rural affairs is an enormous catch-all phrase. Farm and agriculture that NILGA seems to have downgraded it. I think it's extremely worrying, and I think it's something we need to keep a very close eye on. And maybe if Councillor Robinson could report back regularly to us to see how that's going, and to see how agriculture has actually even been mentioned in that group. And because rural affairs, international affairs, I don't think it could be much wider than that group. And so I am extremely concerned about that.
Thank you, Margaret. Councillor Green. Councillor Swift.
Yeah, Garamagat Cahirlock, and similarly, this issue was brought up first of all at our agriculture liaison group, and before this correspondence is passed for noting, to further on Seamus's concerns, I think it would be appropriate to contact NILGA again to most definitely ensure that agriculture is included in the strapline so that it is firmly placed on the agenda. We have difficulty enough in trying to fight for the rights and entitlements of the rural farmer, the agricultural entire service delivery activity. So I would be asking that NILGA relook at that while it's all encompassing and all in there together and can be lifted and talked about and spoken about. I think it's more important that it's firmly placed within that description and firmly on the agenda. And I've no doubt that Councillor Paul Robinson would be the man to raise the issues for us anyway, but just to make sure. Garamagat. Propose that, and I'm sure Seamus will probably second that. Tommy, Garamagat.
Yeah. We have Anthony coming in here now.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Thanks for that, Seamus. Councillor Feely.
Thank you, Gary. No, that's no, I was going to second that with Seamus.
Thanks for that, Anthony. So we have the proposal to note, all agreed? And then the second proposal is to write in, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have the second proposal then to write to NILGA for clarification and to ensure that rural affairs isn't lost in the greener scheme of things. Everyone agreed? Thank you, members. Moving on.
Thank you, Chair. So the next item of correspondence is from DAERA and from the Minister, and it's in respect of promoting the benefits for quality local farm produce, and this is in response to representations made by the Council, and the letter sets out how the Department is progressing that, alongside noting that the Department's at the early stage of development of a new future food policy and is also appointed as the lead for food security on behalf of the Northern Ireland Executive.
Thanks for that, Kim. Councillor Blake, your hand's still up. Are you happy to propose?
Yeah, sorry, propose for noting, Chair.
Thank you, Paul. And Councillor Green, Collier Green, your hand's still up there, yeah?
Thanks, Chair, again. In relation to that letter, I am conscious that back before lockdown, I made a proposal that there would be like a local food certificate issued from the council, or that this would be looked into from the council, showing local businesses that was actually sourcing local product. Something like the hygiene thing, where you had a one up to 5 certificate or to showing that you were actually sourced local. So I was wondering, maybe this is the wrong committee or not, I don't know, but I was wondering, have we any update on that proposal?
Thank you, Seamus.
Chair, I understand that our economic development officials have been having some discussions with environmental health teams. It may not be as straightforward as the food hygiene rating system in terms of access to information about traceability and our own access to information locally, but certainly we will follow that up and bring a report back.
Yeah, and I'm conscious that there was a proposal made for the council to source local as well. So that was on top of that proposal. In fact, I think it was a motion that was passed on that, and then this other followed on. So it'd be good if that eventually or soon.
Thanks for that, Seamus. Councillor Donnelly, Stephen Donnelly.
Thank you very much, Chair. Likewise, this has been a very difficult year for our farming community, and all that we can do as a council to help promote our local produce is very much welcome, and we need to continue in that work. But just more than happy to come in to second thank you.
Thanks for that, Stephen. All agreed? Thank you, members. Moving on.
Chair, the next item of correspondence is also from DERA, and it's from the Acting Chief Executive of NIEA, the Environment Agency, in response to correspondence received from the Council through the Agriculture Liaison Group in respect of measures put in place by NIEA to support farmers in their efforts to reduce ammonia. And the letter sets out some work in conjunction with DERA in respect of measures to reduce the impacts of ammonia.
Councillor Green, Collier Green, you coming back in there?
Sorry, my hand's up from the last.
Collier Michael here. None all right.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's encouraging to hear that there are some consideration being given to address this issue. I would like to raise a proposal just in relation to the bottom of the first page there, where it talks about the need to protect water quality. And I suppose this is particularly apt considering that this is a document coming or discussing and on behalf of the NIEA, that given our discussions on Friday when we met with the NI Water and our representatives from the Department for Infrastructure, that they seemingly were currently unaware that there's a number of proposals for discharge consent into the protected waterways around the Owen Killieu and Owen Ray rivers in Greencastle being considered by NIEA without, I suppose, consultation or without informed consultation so far in relation to NI water. Now, given that those waterways feed on to the Derg water treatment plant, which feeds some of the Oma population, this is very concerning, given that there are 24 listed toxins and heavy metals being or intended to be put into the water, including ammonia and ammonia nitrates, chloride, fluoride, and sulfate. So I think it would be incumbent on us maybe to follow up in relation to that. And I would suggest or propose that as a council, we would look to making some sort of a submission to NIEA in relation to these proposals, the first of which I believe was actually quashed in the High Court last year, seemingly is being resubmitted now for whatever reason, and a number of others really that deal with planning permission that hasn't actually yet been granted for a mine. So I think there's a role for the council as standard bearers or protectors of people's health and well-being, that this is something we should be getting directly involved in and we should be making representation on. So I would propose that the council actually follow up on the current proposals or submissions for discharge consent into those waterways and, as I say, make a submission in relation to them. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Emma. Collier and Coffey.
Chair, I'm happy enough to second that proposal. I just would like to highlight in the response what I think is an absolutely disgraceful comment by the Minister, which is that the idea is to increase habitat resilience, making habitats better able to withstand ammonia pollution. Now, we should be stopping ammonia pollution. We should not be making habitats better able to withstand it. This is a charter really for more of the same pollution, and we have to do something. So I'm happy enough to second that proposal. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Donald. Councillor Buchanan.
Thanks, Chair. Just if you wanted a proposer for that correspondence, I would be happy to propose it. It's good to get some information on ammonia. We have been looking at that in the Agricultural Liaison Group this past while, and it's good to get that correspondence back. So I'm happy to propose that, Chair.
Thanks for that, Mark. And John McLaughlin, Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I'm not quite sure. Have I missed a document here? Because I'm looking at a document from DERA about farmers and nitrates, in particular ammonia going in, and how we would help farmers to reduce the impact of that. I'm not sure where Councillor McAleer's stuff's coming from. I'd be quite happy to second Councillor Buchanan's proposal.
Thanks for that, John. And Councillor Deehan.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I just wanted to say that I share Councillor O'Coffey's concern regarding making habitats more resilient. And members will recall that following on from the meeting of the Agriculture Liaison Group with the Minister, we did follow up with a letter requesting up-to-date information on habitat and species action plans. So I look forward to those documents in due course. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Josephine. A few hands still up there, members. We have a proposer and seconder for the correspondence. All agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you, members.
Agreed.
And then we have a further proposal from Councillor Michael Lear and seconded by Councillor O'Coffey in relation to writing in relation to the potential ammonia going into our waterways. All agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you, members. Moving the third part of that now is Loch Melvin Special Area Conservation.
Again, Chair, again, it's correspondence from Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs, and it's just notification that they're undertaking a survey work at Loch Melvin under the Conservation Management for Northern Ireland's SACs. The survey will look at how well the plants and animals and the natural habitat are improving since the scheme was introduced in the area in 2017. And that work is currently ongoing and actually due to finish in this month. You'll note the date of the correspondence, 31st of July. Thank you, Chair. It's for noting.
Have we a proposer to note? Next up is, sorry, John McCloughy, your hand's still up from the previous item. And Anthony Feely.
Yeah, thank you, Kahuli. I'd be happy to propose that because they're doing a good job down there, Loch Melvin, beside me, and we do want to protect it. And I just see the date there between August and October. Are they doing it now, John, or have they started yet with the COVID and all? I was just wondering, have they done yet? They've done the latest check there.
Yeah, Chair, the work is ongoing at present, and despite COVID, because it is out in the open and it is inspectors going out and seeing how the natural habitat has changed, that work has continued and it is due to end very shortly in the next number of weeks.
100% happy to propose on it.
Thank you, Anthony. Councillor Thornton.
Quite happy to second, Chair.
Thanks for that, Howard. Councillor Swift, do you have your hand up? Do you wish to add?
Yeah, well, yes, and just to add, no need for me to say I was going to second it, but and I'm glad to hear that the work's ongoing, and just to make sure that the conservation there takes particular special note of the Gillaroo fish that's unique to Loch Melvin and world renowned. It's the fish that has the unique gene that is only found in Loch Melvin, and whilst other places and areas like Loch Ness would talk about the brown trout and that, the Gillaroo is unique in its own right and well categorized and recognized with its clear red spots, etc. And further on that, the Gillaroo isn't well promoted as a known tourist attraction. It's surprising how many people, even locally, wouldn't be aware of the Gillaroo and indeed the legend that's attached with it about St. Bridget walking along the edge of the loch on a Friday and happened to be eating a chicken sandwich. How true all of this is, but it's a good story. Ate the chicken sandwich, realised she shouldn't be eating meat on a Friday, popped it into the loch, a fish came along, swallowed the chicken sandwich, and hence then the Gillaroo has the gizzard. So half chicken, half fish type thing. And, you know, when you go and look at the tourist signs when entering there down at the Rushing and down at Loch Melvin, it's probably just not clear enough to people what the loch actually has to hold. And I would definitely be 100% behind the preservation of that ecosystem and all the habitat, all the wonderful habitat down at Loch Melvin. So it's just something that I hope this particular agency, along with tourism and all the other departments responsible for the promotion, work together and not in silo on the same. Guramagat Kirlach.
Fulcher Road, Bernice, and thanks for that story time there. Councillor Coffey.
Yeah, Chair. Can I certainly would agree with what Councillor Swift has said there about the importance of the Gillaroo, but also the Sonahan and the Arctic char, which are also found in that lake and very few other places. So it is a very important water course. It's a oligotrophic lake, but there's the problem I understand is that there's a deterioration in water quality, not just there, but Loch Latoon, down Loch Macnean, and into Loch Earn itself. And I think we need to get some answers around exactly what is the cause of this. Now, is it direct effluent flowing from surge overflows, or is it a runoff, or is it something else? And I would like to propose that if we could write to the Department for Infrastructure Rivers Agency on this issue.
Sorry, Collier, cutting across you there, but I thought that this was that the survey was taking place in the minute, and that those answers you're seeking may come forward from the survey.
Yeah, it's only for one lake though. It's for Loch Macnean, which is the most important one because it's the oligotrophic lake. But there are mesotrophic and so on lakes around the county. So I would like to see further than that. It's not just enough. Like obviously, there are particular angling issues around that in that particular lake, which I think Councillor Swift has identified. But there are equally issues around rapid deterioration in water quality. My understanding in Loch Latoon, and in related, these are related water courses. If you get me.
Sorry. Again, we're trying to stick to the agenda as it is. Donald, obviously, you're bringing in a wider issue entirely there. Not sure that this is the juncture to bring in that letter. I have already got a proposal in sector to note the correspondence. So I'm really not happy to extend that out to the remit beyond that just at this stage. Donald, if you could hold that thought for another opportunity, please.
Agreed, Chair.
Chair, I'm happy to second that. I think it's an ideal.
Sorry, I've already ruled that I'm not. Sorry, I'm trying to stick more tightly to the agenda. We've gone into an awful lot of stuff there that's just not in relation to the literature that we received, and it's already been proposed and seconded. So I'm taking the correspondence as adopted. All in favour?
Agreed, Chairman.
Agreed.
Okay. Now, moving on to the next item on the agenda, please.
The next item, correspondence, Chair, is from Northern Ireland Water, and it's response to queries from an informal meeting held back on the 11th of February, and it's in response to follow-up correspondence issued by Council, and these may have been dealt with at a more recent meeting.
Councillor Blake?
Yeah, to propose for noting, Chair.
Councillor Thompson?
Second, the noting, Chair.
And thank you. And Councillor Gordon McPhillips, you removed your hand again. Okay. Councillor McAleer, you've put up your hand there.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's just in relation to the correspondence and the response here. It's point 7 in page, I think it's page 3, deals with it is in relation to the use of chemicals, I suppose, around the Glenhorda water treatment works. The very last line says that it's going to be addressed in 2021. Now, I don't understand why there's a delay. Obviously, I can understand why there's an issue in terms of COVID and works being delayed. Is that saying that there's no work planned to use chemicals until next year? Like, I'm not fully satisfied by the response that we've received here. Look, we have agreed previously that this is a council that's going to try and be more environmentally friendly, try and move away from chemicals as much as we can. And I'm not sure that this gives a full answer or addresses just the concern fully. So I'm just wondering, is there detail in that? Perhaps one of the officers maybe has a wee bit more information on what is being stated just on point number 7 there.
Okay. Damn it. Councillor O'Reilly, Collier O'Reilly.
Thank you, Chair. Is it me or does anybody else note the fact that something that was raised in February, we are in October getting replies. And if you look at number 6 there, Northern Ireland Water not aware of any decision by the executive to meter domestic properties, but to follow this up, you know, to my mind, this is absolutely another example of departments and agencies paying little or no attention to elected members in local government. And I believe that it is not endemic in how business is being translated by ourselves and these agencies, that we are months upon months out of date with what we ask. And certainly...
Sorry, Thomas, to cut across you, but I've just been reliably informed that correspondence did arrive on the 1st of June to the council. It's the delay in getting it processed through the meetings has been the delay in that.
Chair, I'm aware that I see it as the 1st of June. The 1st of June to February, and by the time we get it. So, well, you know, what I'd say about how the council does business between June and now is another matter which we will take up in the time ahead. But certainly from February to June to get a reply is absolutely ridiculous and bears no resemblance then, as I say on point 6, that they will follow up. So they're not even giving us answers. Chair, I appreciate that you want to move, but I think that unless we address this and that we actually charge our chief executive with going to the minister that has some executive control here and looking at about the timescale in replies. We have this from Northern Ireland Water. I am still waiting from a DEA meeting with road service for one answer. Nothing supplied as yet, despite it being raised on a number of occasions. And I think that we are being treated as mushrooms. And I would propose that we write to the minister on this occasion, and indeed to the First Minister, Deputy First Minister, to instruct that departments and agencies pay some attention to the information requests from councils, and that they reply in a timely manner. And I do not believe months later is considered timely. So I propose that, Chair.
Did you call me? Yeah.
I may have been muted. I did, Siobhan.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. I do remember this meeting from the 11th of February, and I believe at the time we did have assurances that we would receive response. In my mind, it was within a couple of weeks. I do know that we have had the whole COVID and everything else hit, but it wasn't for a full month after that until things started locking down. So I'm very happy to second that. I don't think it is acceptable. Even though we did receive it in June, I think that was far too long.
Siobhan. Collier Dehan, Councillor Dehan.
Thank you, Chair. Well, Chair, I wonder, would you consider yourself raising this matter through the partnership panel? You know, it seems to be a repeating theme that we are not getting responses to valid questions for a prolonged period of time. So I think I'm certain our council is not being singled out for this treatment, and I'm sure it applies across councils. So perhaps you would consider raising it in that forum, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks for your proposal, Josephine. The partnership panel does only meet quarterly, as far as I'm aware, Josephine. We have NILGA executive members who may be fit to raise it at the executive of NILGA in the meantime, which would mean it'd be more active. And then obviously at the partnership panel, if the opportunity arose, it would be on the agenda then. I obviously can't just raise it as a single item as far as we're from start here. So bear with me there. Whoever, Councillor Michael Lear, you wish to come back in now?
To run on, it left my hand up there, Chair. Sorry about
that. Right. And Seamus Green, Collier Green.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I would totally concur with Thomas on everything that he said there. I would like to also just point out and make it public that as far as, well, a couple of days ago. There's no point in us criticising the Assembly and other departments while we're going into another lockdown, and the likes of the public convenience and Bruper still hasn't opened from the last lockdown while it's opened everywhere else. So, I think we need to sort ourselves out. But I totally agree with Thomas. We are being made fools of by these these agencies and departments. And I'd further say that Councillor Deacon possibly might rethink the thing that we are not being singled out. I suspect Belfast City Council and Darien Strabane probably do get replied to quicker than us. And seeing we are maybe deemed as a bit of a backwater, we are the last that be replied to.
Thanks for that, Councillor. Councillor Bernice Swift.
Yeah, Garmagat Kirla can agree with all that has already been said, and it is becoming rather stark, the lack of responses and not timely at all coming from central government. It's just way beyond unacceptable, and COVID cannot be used as the excuse or reason. We're all online and virtually connected, so speed should be more of the name of the game than anything else. And I insist that Thomas includes in his letter his analogy of mushrooms, and if a meaning needs to be put in as a footnote, it should be included, because I think you can't get much clearer than that.
Thanks for that, Councillor Swift. Thanks. Moving on, Councillor John Coyle has.
Thanks, Chair. No, we had a meeting with DFI and NI Water, and we had a number of councillors attend the meeting, but it wasn't that well attended, and these questions should have been asked to those, because we had a vast range of NI Water representatives there, and they would have been fit to answer the questions. Thank you.
Sorry, are you happy to propose that we note the correspondence, John?
Yeah,
it's already proposed. I'm sorry, I've already
done that, Chair.
Right. Sorry. Right. Sorry, in the other proposals, I got slightly lost there, members. I do apologise. We now have the proposal from Councillor Tomás O'Reilly and seconded by Siobhan Corey that we send off a letter to indicate our frustration at the lack of responses or timely responses from the government agencies. All in favour?
Yeah.
Chair, could I just
sorry, I see Alex, you've just put up your hand there, Alex. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and not only writing a letter to talk about the generality, if there were several examples of the intermitting time between flash and bang, flash being sending a request and bang being the response, it would certainly help. To make just a general query or a general complaint certainly is strengthened if you've got evidence from various departments in their lethargy, if that was possible.
Thanks for that, Alex. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. I can do that. I can provide my evidence, certainly.
That's okay. Councillors, moving on now. Where are we now? NI Water. 8.5.
Thank you, Chair. So this correspondence is, we've been provided with a copy of a regional, spatial and economic strategy for 2020 to 2032 from the Northern and Western Regional Assembly, and it's for our information and consideration.
Collier Green, Councillor Green. Seamus, you have your hand up? No, down. And Alex, you have your hand up? It's gone down as well. Could I have a Emmett Collier McAleer?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I think there are some quite promising and positive things noted within this document. I think as you read through it, like the talk of supportive infrastructure, sustainable growth, innovative people, there's a lot of boxes ticked. I think the fact that they've stated explicitly that all considerations need to be cognizant of our natural resources, landscape and heritage, natural, social and cultural. This idea of moving away from fossil fuels towards a greener society and circular practices. Indeed, an explicit note there on page 12 of the document about moving away from an extractive region to one that's replenishing is very encouraging. And obviously, there's talk of the region really being defined by the rural areas, which in turn provide for economic, social, cultural, and environmental well-being of communities, both rural and urban. So I think there's a lot noted in this that we can probably take away from it. You know, they note as well, I think it's page 27 of the document, about liaising or working with towns such as Omagh and Enniskillen. So, like, it is a positive, and I think there's probably stuff that we can draw from this document as a council. So
are you happy enough to propose?
Taking that on board, I think I'm happy enough to propose the note. Yeah, thank you, Chair.
And Collier, Crystal McCaffrey.
Gormail Mogad Caherly will just, if you need a seconder there, but we'll just agree with everything the previous speaker has said. It's a fine document and indeed lots of positivity. Gormail.
Well, Councillor Deehan.
Well, yes, Chair, I had just come in to second, but I think it's worth noting that, you know, as we take forward our local development plan, it is really essential for us not only to note developments in terms of neighbouring councils in the north, but also regions in the Republic of Ireland, because I think that cross-border working, particularly in these areas, are very beneficial. And it's absolutely essential that we take note of those developments and that we work collaboratively. So I support noting, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. All agreed? Thank you, members. Moving on, item 8.6.
Okay. Chair, item 8.6 corresponds from Cameo in response to the Council's correspondence dated the 15th of June, noting that they do not wish to attend an informal meeting in the current format.
Thanks for that, Kim. Somebody propose for noting? Collier Coyle, Councillor Coyle.
Propose to note, Chair.
And Councillor Erskine. Councillor Erskine disappeared there.
Tommy, yes, happy to second noting there.
Thanks for that, Deborah. Thank you. And John and Deborah. Really, that's just a simple letter for noting, Emmett. I'm not sure we want a full-blown conversation on it. It's been laying about for quite a while.
Just a line to express my disappointment that the council wouldn't meet with the group or host the e-debate or participate in the e-debate as discussed. So just to record that, Chair.
Okay, that letter's been about for quite a while, Emmett. Happy enough with that. All agreed to note? Thank you, members. Moving on, item 8.7.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This is correspondence from Department for Communities on the Affordable Warm Scheme. You'll note it is dated the 25th of June and has largely been superseded by other developments on the Affordable Warm Scheme. In fact, just on last Friday, there were discussions and email from the Department in relation to explore the operational delivery model of the Affordable Warm Scheme and the issue of self-targeted referrals, and that work has commenced with the Department for Communities. So this correspondence is just for noting, Chair.
Anne-Marie Donnelly, Councillor Donnelly.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, John, for the update. Happy to propose noting.
Thanks for that, Anne-Marie. And Howard Thornton, Councillor Thornton.
Quite happy to second, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Howard. Everyone agreed? Thank you, members. Moving on. 8.8.
Thank you, Chair. So 8.8 is correspondence from Save Our Sparrows. It's similar to the previous correspondence from Cameo in response to our request for an informal meeting. And the letter has identified that the group do not wish to take us up on that opportunity. at this time.
Thanks, Kim. Councillor Stephen Donnelly.
Happy to note, Chair.
Thanks for that, Stephen. And John Coyle, Collier Coyle.
Second, Chair.
Thanks for that. All agreed, members? Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, just again to register my disappointment and hope that the council and council officers have actually read the letter and noted the points made.
I'm quite sure it's been well digested. Thanks for that, Emmett. Moving on. 8.9.
It corresponds 8.9 chairs from Invest NI, and it's in response to the council's correspondence to the chief executive in relation to the lack of available industrial land in the Oma area and the implications for the local economy. So this letter is in response and outlines the Invest NI's approach in terms of not competing with private sector operators and only intervening where there's clear evidence of both business demand and market failure. So the correspondence does also note that there may be opportunities to work in partnership as this work progresses.
And Collier Barra, Michael Gillivan.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I think Invest NI tend to focus on one aspect of this. It's this business of whether or not they shall purchase available land. One thing they're ignoring is that they have a duty to point businesses who are planning to expand to possible available land. And I would restate my point that a large Oma-based company was not made aware by Invest NI of available land in the Oma area that they could have negotiated for, even purchased for a lower price than they achieved outside of the Fermanagh and Oma council area. So a local company was effectively directed out of this council area by Invest NI through negligence and omission. And they might very well say that they're not in the business at this time of purchasing land at high prices, all that kind of thing. I think they're neglecting their duty to make businesses planning to expand of available land in this area. So I would repeat that claim, and I would propose that we write to Kevin Holland making that point clear and distinct. It seems to be omitted any time there's a response. Thank you, Chair.
Collier Coffey.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'd second that by Councillor Michael Duff. I have to say, in my experience with Invest NI, only twice have I seen them really get the bit between their teeth and actually try to deliver anything. Twice. And I won't go into the detail of them two cases, but the difference between their approach in those occasions and normally is staggering. And I really think we have to ask exactly what has Invest NI delivered for Fermanagh and Oma District Council area ever, near enough. We've had promises of 600 jobs in Enniskillen, which didn't turn out, even though they were meant to be below the living wage. What is Invest NI doing in Fermanagh and Oma apart from bringing polluting industries such as fracking into the area? That's all they're about. So I'm very happy to support anything that calls into question exactly what they're doing, because they don't seem to have any interest in our area at all.
Thanks for that, Donald. I do believe we recently had a meeting with Invest NI as a council, but I'm not 100% sure, Donald. Councillor Stephen Donnelly.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I suppose I'm happy enough to propose noting if that's required. But I mean, I would just say, I mean, in the letter, it does reference the fact that intervention can only happen on the basis of business demand and market failure. But it does have to be said that whenever there is a failure to outline opportunities in our district to investors, that in itself is a form of market distortion, which damages the prospects of the people in our district. And Invest NI really needs to step up to the plate in that regard. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that, Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Deehan, keep it brief. I think that everybody's sentiments are similar, I believe.
Yes, of course. And just, I think it's important to keep the pressure on Mr. Holland, because after all, job creation, economic prosperity, that's a cornerstone of what we want for our area. So Invest NI have a key role to play, and it's important that we ensure that they fulfil their responsibilities in that regard.
Thanks for that, Councillor. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Deehan. Councillor Green?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Could I suggest that slightly tongue-in-cheek, that we write to Invest NI and suggest that they rename themselves to Invest Belfast or Invest Derry, because that really seems to be their only remit.
You're mute, Chair.
It's maybe just as well there. I was praising Seamus for his poetry there. Invest Belfast. Thanks for that, Seamus. Councillor McAleer.
Yeah, just to support the comments by Councillor O'Coffey there, I think considering that Invest NI were involved in giving public money to Dalradian to come to our part of Tyrone as well, they have a great track record in this district area. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Gormy Loya. And lastly, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I suppose I do support some of the comments of Councillor McAduff, although we did have our meeting with Invest Northern Ireland recently, and a lot of these points were made by Councillor McAduff and myself and others. I would distance myself from some of the comments by other councillors, but I'm happy to second the noting of this document. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Earl. Thanks for that, members. So just to get the correspondence out of the way, proposed and seconded, all agreed with the noting of the correspondence? Thank you, members. And then we have a proposal from Barry, seconded by Collier O'Coffey, to write to Invest NI with the sentiments indicated. All agreed? Thanking you, members. Moving on, 8.10.
8.10 is correspondence again from the Executive Office in response to correspondence from the Fermanagh and Omagh Agriculture Liaison Group. It's from the head of the Civil Service, and noting that due to significant dairy commitments, the First and Deputy First Ministers are unable to meet at this time with the Agriculture Liaison Group.
Got a proposer to note? Mr. Coffey, your hand's still up there?
Yeah, I'm happy to note.
Proposed by Donald Paul Robinson. Councillor Robinson?
Second it.
Good man, Paul. Thanks for that. All agreed? Moving on. 11.
Chair, this is in relation to an email dated the 10th of August in relation to the purple flag for Enniskillen, and saying that we have been successful in getting the accreditation of the purple flag again for 2021. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, John. Anne-Marie Donnelly, Councillor Donnelly.
Proposed to note.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. And Councillor Thompson.
Second to note, Chair. Congratulations to Enniskillen.
Thanking you, Earl, and thanks for second. Howard.
Thanks, Chair. With regard to it, I know that CCTV is an issue with purple flag. Can I ask if there's any update on when the CCTV consultants report will be brought before Council?
Yes, Chair. We're currently working on CCTV and the options. There was a report dated back in 2018. We're currently looking at that and getting it renewed again. And a report will be brought out maybe a number of months, Chair, before that is done. But it's something that we have actively on the agenda and actively talking about at this point in time, and trying to get a full encompassing for both Omagh and Enniskillen in dealing with the CCTV issue.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Howard. We have a proposer and seconder. All agreed for noting. Thanking you. Moving on. Item 8.12.
Thank you, Chair. This is correspondence from the Minister for the Economy in response to an invitation to meet with the Council in respect of Project Stratum, and the correspondence notes that it would not be appropriate, the Minister indicates it would not be appropriate to discuss the project at this sensitive time in terms of the procurement process, but that she will will her officials will engage with councils immediately at the point of contract award and should be happy to meet with council members at that time. The correspondence then also goes on to refer to the universal service obligation in respect of broadband availability to rural areas.
Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Obviously, members have made representations on this right throughout the period, but I'm happy to propose the note. It's self-explanatory what you said there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Collier Green.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, you caught me with my mouth full there. I just want to say a few things on this here. I can't see what would the point of meeting or with the minister after the contracts has been signed. Surely that would be then irrelevant to anything because the contracts have already been signed. Everything would be signed, sealed, and not delivered to a big section of our area. Surely the whole point is about expressing our concerns before the contracts. So I would propose that we actually write and suggest just how, maybe use a bit more a different word than idiotic that suggestion is, given our concerns.
Thanks for that, Seamus. Councillor Bernice Swift.
Yes, Gormaga Cahirlock, and concur with the last comments. I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed with the long list of "we cannot meet you at this time" coming from central government. It's just becoming exasperating. And this particular letter, Kim, can I have clarification, or is it just the fact that it's not officially written on the procurement, the completion of the procurement exercise? And I just say that following on from the recent meeting that we had on regulation and the de-scoping and the continued not spots and the areas that are being knocked off the list for Project Stratum, and our vested interests in ensuring that everyone is included as promised would be. And I was very dissatisfied with that meeting, and I felt the people who came along to speak were extremely defensive on any questions that they were asked. And it wasn't just my perception, I can categorically state, because I sought advice on the same. So given those few facts, Cahirlock, I would definitely support what Seamus is saying there. I'm happy to second that. And just ask Kim on the actual facts, and I suppose if the procurement is written in stone yet. And is that the reason why then it's not appropriate to meet? Because if the procurement has been all signed and sealed, well then, come and meet. Guramagat.
Chair, just to note that the last update we received was that they were still at the contract award point. We haven't been officially notified of a formal award of the contract, although there have been media reports in relation to this. My understanding is that it may have been in the standstill period, which would probably mean that it wouldn't be appropriate for officials to engage in discussions around that at this point in time. But we can certainly follow up with DFE to get an up-to-date position in respect of where the contract award is. In fact, I think that has already been identified as an outcome or an output from the Broadband Working Group report, which was adopted at the original RNC meeting last week.
Yes, thanks for that, Kim.
Councillor Green, your hand's still up. Maybe moving on, Councillor O'Coffey.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think there's an inherent dishonesty within the response that has been received from the Minister. It states that the universal service obligation recognises the right of any citizen to request a broadband service, right? But that is contingent on the cost of connection not exceeding £3,400. Now, the information we received at the workshop is that virtually no one in our council area will benefit from this because of that threshold. That's the upper limit that's set, and to connect most households, the cost is far in excess of that, and that therefore people will have to pay the difference. So the universal right, as it is ascribed in the correspondence from the minister, is actually one that is contingent upon the ability to pay. And therefore, I think it is really, I think, a transparently dishonest response, because the minister knows that as well as anything else. So I'm certainly happy to support the proposal by Councillor Green. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that. Next up, Councillor Feely. Anthony Feely. Collier Feely.
Thank you, Gehirley, and I'll be brief. I was coming in there second, Seamus, as I agree with everything Seamus and Bernice says. As one of the councils that has very bad broadband, dodgy, just waiting for the web. And seeing now that we're going to start having a plan and meetings on WebEx too, when we vote and stuff, very important. So just keep the pressure on them. Thanks, Tommy.
Good morning, Anthony. Councillor Gannon.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be as brief as I can as well. I'll just express disappointment with the minister for refusal to meet, and we had junior ministers who were due to meet before that pulled out. And just seems to be this continuing ignoring of us and our concerns, our very valid concerns that we've raised, and as well Mid-Ulster Council raised. Also, we share many of the same problems, and it'll be interesting to see how the procurement comes out. Given that they're not meeting us, we'll have to see how it ends up with the focus on value for money, and I feel we'll have a significant areas left out. But on Councillor O'Coffey's point about the USO, he is perfectly correct in what he's saying. One constituent contacted me the other day to say they were quoted £60,000 to pay to access that service. So very dishonest letter indeed when we're talking about rights for citizens here. If it's £60,000. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that. Councillor Michael Ear. Collier Michael Ear.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, another absolutely appointing letter from the minister. And I think we're starting to see a pattern here where we write a letter and she dismisses it out of hand. I'm wondering, in relation to a proposal from this council, that we, just mindful of some of the comments that have been made in previous working groups, and indeed before I'm speaking here now, have we had any advance or any progress made on our previous recommendation that we apply to be the first council that's worked with in terms of the rollout of Project Stratum as the council area that suffers most from lack of broadband provision or very poor broadband provision? And I'm wondering if any future correspondence has come back, maybe we reiterate that point to the minister, just a reminder that we're still here and we're not, just because she's dismissing it out of hand, the 40 members within the chamber aren't doing likewise. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Ed. Councillor. There's no further update to that, Councillor. As we're dealing with the correspondence, I have a proposer to note the correspondence, and I need a seconder. Could somebody second just to note the correspondence, and then we go on to the separate proposal?
Happy to second Mary here, Tommy.
Mary Garrett, Mary, thank you. And now we go on to Councillor Green's proposal, seconded by Councillor Swift. All agreed?
Yeah.
Thank you, members. Moving on. 8.13.
Thank you, Chair. This is a request from Fermanagh Rural Community Network to provide a letter of support for what is called a Halls project. It's a joint project from Fermanagh Rural Community Network and Impact Network NI, who operate in County Antrim, to the National Lottery for funding for halls to provide advice, guidance, training up to 150 community associations who are involved, who have their own halls. And the request is that we provide a letter of support for that application.
Thank you, John. Councillor Green.
Yeah, I'd like to propose that we do write that letter of support.
Seamus, Collier, Siobhan Correa, Lanneray, Halvine.
Gormagad Caherly, yes, I'd like to second that, please, as soon as we can, Gormagad.
And Anthony, maybe you coming in the second, just Anthony, were you?
Yeah, okay, Tommy, sorry.
You're okay. No, obviously, you welcome the issue as well. We have a proposer and seconder. All agreed? Thank you, members. Now, I just check at 8.15. Have we any other, Kim? Sorry, again, I skipped ahead of myself slightly there. 8.14, variance to plan district council local development plan.
Chair, this correspondence from Derry City and Strabane Council just noting that they have commenced a period of reconsultation on their draft plan strategy of their local development plan, running for a period of 8 weeks from the 11th of September to the 6th of November.
Councillor Green? And Councillor Deehan?
Propose to note, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine. Councillor Blake?
I'll second. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, members. All agreed? Thank you, members. 8.15. Kim, is there any other?
No other correspondence, Chair.
No other correspondence. So now I will go into matters arising. We're now going to the matters arising for the previous meetings. Which one's on my own, Kim? The ones that's listed there now. 10th of March. Yeah, that's it. Just double checking that we hadn't go further back. Right, members, matters arising from the meeting on the 10th of March 2020. Bear with me, members, to get some of the paperwork out of the way. Tuesday, March the 10th. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5.
Sorry, Chair.
Page 6.
Sorry, Chair, page 4.
Page 4.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just in relation to the meeting there under the Mid-Southwest growth deal that we had with Vodafone, and I'm wondering, well, first of all, I'm kind of wondering what the point of that meeting was, because we haven't really, personally, I haven't been provided with anything of any content to bring back to constituents in terms of issues that were raised and addressed in it. And the very disappointing thing is that they were issues that I had previously mentioned to the same speaker back in March of this year, and she still has failed to address them. Yet the next day she was very quick to send out information on 5G technology, which the meeting really didn't have anything to do with. So I'm just kind of very concerned that, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but a number of quite serious and quite important issues raised, and they were touched on there in the broadband working group. And as luck would have it, my internet dropped just following that discussion and has only come back in again there now. That, these are very real concerns of our electorate, and yet they're not being addressed, or they're being put on the long finger. So I would be inclined, and I would like to make a proposal that we contact the representative from Vodafone who was with us as a council, and request that answers are given in terms of the questions which were posed, and specifically I'm relating to issues in Mid Tyrone, in places like Greencastle, Carrickmore, Craigan, Mountfield, Loch Macrory, Barra, where the Vodafone coverage was historically good but has subsequently deteriorated and is currently non-existent, and trying to get information on why that is and when it'll be restored or repaired. Now, again, we were told that she was going to speak to technical people. I was told that in March, and seemingly it still hasn't happened. So I would appreciate and propose that the council get in touch, and maybe as a council we'll have a bit more success in getting answers and getting action, indeed, rather than myself on my own. Thank you, Chair.
Have we a seconder for that proposal?
Yeah, Councillor Keelan, I'll second that, yeah.
Eamon, you've joined us, Eamon. Good man. Thanks for that. All agreed?
Yes, agreed. And Tommy, just...
Sorry, Bernice, we're going through matters raising. Go on ahead quickly, very quickly.
Emmett had outlined a lot of villages and townlands in the Tyrone area. The same applies in Fermanagh, with the very bad lack of mobile signal, of which we've been shouting about since the time of the G8. So to include that also, Garmagat.
And before Bernice thinks that. Moving on, item 5, or page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, page 15, page 16, page 17, page 18.
18.
Page. Who's that, Councillor?
Green.
Councillor Green. Page 18.
Yeah, it was just there. There was a proposal made to request the Chief Executive Forest Service to a meeting. Unless I have had a complete blind spot or something and didn't realise that it happened or something, and if it did, my apologies. Could I have an update on that?
Yeah, certainly, Chair, can update. We have invited Forest Service, but to date we have not received a response from them as to when they'll be available for that meeting. And we have gone on a couple of occasions, Chair.
Okay, and when you say we haven't had a response from them, have we had no response from them at all, or have they just come back with that they couldn't nail down a date? Because I'm conscious that Forest Service headquarters is now in Enniskillen, or supposed to be allegedly in Enniskillen, and but a lot of these top civil servants, and that is one question I want to raise with them: where exactly are they stationed? Because the headquarters in Enniskillen, that's where the Chief Executive should be. So I can't see how the problem is of getting them nailed down. In fact, I'm passing there tomorrow. I might knock the door and ask them myself what the problem is, if the Chief Executive actually is there. But I propose that we write again and we actually demand that they set a date.
Yeah, Chair, just to advise, they have indicated to us they are willing, but certainly the dates they've provided did not work with the councillor schedule, so that's the detail on it, and we will follow that up again as a matter of urgency.
Thanks.
Okay, members. 19, page 20, page 21, page 22, page 23, page 24, page 25, page 26, page 27, page 28.
Sorry, Chair, page 26 there. Just one of the proposals was to clarify with the Department of Education and the EA in relation to additional funding for schools which were historically underfunded. And I'm just wondering if there was ever any comeback or response to that particular request. Thank you, Chair.
Chief Executive's coming in there.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, we did get a response, albeit it has only been quite recently, and it is included in the correspondence for the council meeting and indeed the reconvened council meeting this week.
Happy enough with that, Councillor?
Just looking forward to reading the good news then. Thank you.
Hopefully so. And could I have a proposer and seconder for the noting of the matters raising?
Propose. Donald Coffey.
Donald Coffey. And a seconder, please.
Seconded, Councillor Robinson.
Paul Robinson. Thank you, Paul. Aye. Matters arising from the 8th of June.
Tommy's Anthony here. Can
9th of June, I seen the 8th. Sorry, Anthony, go ahead.
Seamus made a proposal there during matters raised, and seconded from about writing again to Forest Service, if you want to second it. Tommy?
I thanks for that, Anthony. I think the Chief Executive is going to deal with it anyway. Thanks, Anthony. Good enough. Tuesday, the 9th of June, matters arising from page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, page 15, 16, 17, page 18, page 19, page 20, page 21, page 22, page 23. Could I have a proposer and seconder for noting the matters
Councillor
raised?
Thompson, Chairman.
Earl Thompson.
Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. And Anne-Marie Donnelly.
Seconded, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Romeo. Okay, members, moving on to Wednesday, the 8th of July. Just making sure they're in the right order. Matters arising from page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, and page 14. Could I have a proposer to note the matters arising?
Opposed, Councillor Robinson.
Paul Robinson. Thank you, Paul. Councillor Robinson. And a seconder, please.
Councillor Thompson.
Earl Thompson. Thank you, Earl. Thank you. And where are we now? Have I lost one?
Item 6.
Yeah, just working my way through this mountain of paperwork here, members. Thank you. Wednesday, the 8th of September, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13. Could I have a proposer and seconder, please? Sorry, one at a time there, please. Was that Earl Thompson again?
Thompson.
Thank you, Earl. And a seconder, please.
Victor.
Thank you, Victor. And where are we now, Kim? We're on to honor. Is that them all done? Good. Yeah. Now, members, any other business?
Chair, I had sent an email about any other business. I know the chief executive had replied, so I'm not sure if it's permitted or not.
Well, unless there's an update to the reply, chief executive. No, there's no further update to the reply, so the reply will have to satisfy for now. Collier McLear, okay?
Well, the reply did say that it was at the discretion of the chair, so.
I'm dealing with the issue now. I've allowed you in with your matter. But the response
thank you,
already,
Chair.
Yeah, but the response you already received by email was the response. There's no further update, Emmett, so it would be unnecessary for a further discussion of the issue. That's my ruling on it. I've already checked with the chief executive if there was a further update to any other business, and there's none indicated. So therefore, your email and the response is all there is at the minute. Emmett, okay?
Sorry, Chair,
that's
just
the matter
in terms
dealt
of
with. Sorry,
the response, it says that the course of action suggested by parents is not one which we would be recommending to the council. So this is a recommendation from council office as opposed to.
I've already ruled, Emmett, that has already been dealt with by the chief executive, and there's no further update at this stage in the meeting. So therefore, you may take it beyond the meeting, member. Not allowing further discussion on something that's already been discussed and answered to. Now, bear with me now. I'm having Paul Blake, your hand still up? Oh, Councillor Blake, if you could remove your hand, please. Collier Barra McAluff.
Okay, Chair, Caherly, I'm anticipating that we might be in a position to progress the membership of working groups that we've been discussing recently. So just seeking guidance from John if we'll take care of that matter now, you know, in the here and now of this meeting. For example, the Irish Language Working Group, I have 5 nominations from the Sinn Féin party. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, John. It is timely to make them if you wish, Barry, but allow John to introduce that.
Yes, Chair, it was something I was going to bring up under any other business. At our meeting last Tuesday night, we had said that anyone who had nominations for the Irish Language Policy Working Group or the Ulster Scots Policy Working Group, that they would be forwarded to myself. I've had a number of nominations, but I would imagine there are a few others still to come in. Just as a reminder, the position of Mananoma Council is that the working groups, because they're not a statutory body, are on the basis of agreement or failing agreement that the DeHunt system would be utilised. And on Friday evening, I sent out an email regarding what the DeHunt would look like, starting from position 49, moving ahead. Thank you, Chair. So yes, would welcome the nominations if at all possible to get it moving.
Okay, Chair. Can I begin then, Chair? And this would this would apply to both groups, the Irish Language Working Group and the Ulster Scots Group. Our 5 nominees are Tommy Maguire, Chris McCaffrey, Glenn Campbell, Siobhan Curry, and myself for both groups. Chair, thank you, Carly, for a minute.
Barry, Errol Thompson, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Well, from Democratic Unionist Party, our nominations, first of all, to the Irish Language Policy Working Group are Councillor Deborah Erskine and Councillor Mark Buchanan. And to the Ulster Scots Policy Working Group, Councillor Mark Buchanan. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Earl. Victor, are you in a place to propose?
Yes, Chair. I can give certainly 2 for each group. For both groups, actually, Councillor John McClaffery and Councillor Alex Baird, and we will come back with the 3rd one shortly.
Thanks for that, Victor. Mary, have you got proposals?
Thanks very much, Chair. If I could email them to me, John, they're still to decide in terms of time. So if I could email them to you within the next 24, is that okay?
That's great, Chair. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Chair.
Thank you, Mary. That's all the larger parties. Independents or smaller parties? Stephen Donnelly, Councillor Stephen Donnelly.
I'd like to nominate.
Oh, sorry, Eamon.
Thanks, Chair.
Sorry, next, Eamon, I'll probably call you.
Stephen.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Chair. I'd already reached out to John to speak with us, but just to place on record, I would like to express my interest in sitting on both of those committees. Thank you very much.
Chair. Chair, if I could possibly come in here, we're now reaching our quota of 12 on each of the committees, and if we are going with DeHunt, then the allocation is for the Irish Language Policy Working Group, 5 for Sinn Féin, 3 for the Ulster Unionist Party, 2 for the Democratic Unionist Party, and 2 for the SDLP. And for the Ulster Scots Policy Working Group, it would be 5 for Sinn Féin, 3 for the Ulster Unionist Party, 1 for the Democratic Unionist Party, 1 for the SDLP, and also then in allocation of the independents, 1 for Councillor Keenan and 1 for Councillor Swift. Now that is if we are using DeHunt only. If we can reach agreement otherwise, then that is really the position of the council.
Cahirlock, can I just come in here? John, if you can just clarify for me, please, because I'm totally unaware of any reaching out correspondence or my name being forwarded for anything. So if you could just clarify, please, Guramagat.
Oh, I sent out correspondence on Friday evening. Now, apologies, I need to check. Gosh, I hope I haven't missed you out, Councillor Swift.
You forgot about me, John.
Through the chair, Bernice, you was attached in that one. Just there was in that email that you sent, John, before you start getting panicky. Thank you.
And I'm listed. What is it to sit on, John? Because my time commitments are full, unfortunately. So I would give way to any other independent who is available. But you've already explained about the hunt, so there may not be room anyway. But I certainly don't have any further time to commit, unfortunately, Guramagat. Thanks for that clarification, Mary.
Chair, if we're going with the hunt, then Councillor Swift, you would be sitting, or you would be allocated to sit on the Ulster Scots Policy Working Group.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about now. I did see that. I thought that somebody had proposed me to sit on it. Well, unfortunately, anyway, I cannot commit. So if anybody else would like, Eamon, I think, was proposing something there. Guramagat.
For the Ulster Scots, I'd like to propose Councillor O'Coffey. And is there still positions for the independents on the Irish language group?
Only, Chair, only if we can reach agreement. According to the hunt, there is not at this stage if the SDLP were to appoint 2 members to that group.
I have my hand up, Tommy. I've got resolution. I have my hand up, Chair. Maybe it's.
If you sorry, Eamon, if you would allow Marion just to express her.
Thank you, Chair.
And then I'll let you back in, Eamon.
Just, yeah, as I say, we were chatting with availability, but if it's any help, I can confirm for the Irish language myself and Adam Gannon and Ulster Scots, Councillor Adam Gannon. Thank you. If that's allowed.
Thank you. Eamon, you wish to add something there or a question?
Yeah, so on the Irish language, I'd like to nominate Councillor O'Coffey, or Councillor McAleer and Councillor O'Coffey.
Chair, we have at this stage nominated or have nominations for 12 members now at this stage on the Irish Language Policy Working Group.
So 2 Irish speakers there, Councillor O'Coffey and Councillor McAleer.
Sorry, Eamon. Yeah, we're fully aware of the format. Just bear with me a wee second for clarification of procedure.
Could it be up to 14 just to make way?
Sorry, Eamon, it's just not quite that simple. Bear with me a wee second again.
Thank you.
Sorry about the delay, members, but we're going through the intricacies of the DeHunt system, and it's not quite as simple as an independent member giving up their position to another independent. So if you could just bear with me, we'll get it clarified and we'll get back to you as soon as possible here.
Chair, surely it doesn't need to be DeHunt. If an agreement can be reached.
Sorry, Councillor. DeHunt is the normal procedure.
But if an agreement can be reached, Chair.
Sorry, that is part of the discussion I'm having here with the officers, if you'd bear with me, Emmett. Right, members, I'll try to clarify as best I can. The position is at the minute that, as John indicated, if we use the hunt, the limits, as John indicated, that is the case. If a member wishes to give up a position within the hunt, the hunt system will then decide who the next in line is.
Well,
it's independents can't just nominate another independent.
Chair, yes, I think it is best if members were to indicate that they would rather have it by agreement or by the hunt. I think would be the first stage of the process.
Councillor Michael Duff, you have your hand up there.
Thank you. I just want to say that the Sinn Féin party has discussed our approach to this as a team, and we strongly believe that the hunt is the fairest, most equal system or methodology for proportionality and equality here, based on political strength, and it's enshrined in the Good Friday Agreement. It's something that this council has embraced, so I'm proposing that we adopt the DeHunt principles in this matter. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Stephen Donnelly.
Thank you very much, Chair. I mean, personally, I think that it would be preferable if we could secure all-party agreement on this, because this is these are issues in terms of the Irish language in Ulster Scots where there's widespread cross-party interest in, and certainly I'd like to be able to play a constructive role in trying to advance the Irish language in Ulster Scots within our district, and I'd like to be able to play a constructive role in that. And if we could secure cross-party agreement, I think that would be something that would be enormously beneficial and would demonstrate leadership on these crucial issues. Thank you.
Earl Thompson, Councillor Thompson, please.
Thank you. Interesting discussion as usual, Chairman. I am happy enough to second the hunt process. If we don't do that, we leave ourselves, I'd like another member in Ulster Scots and what have you. Where do we do? Happy enough to second the hunt process. Thank you, Chairman.
Thanks for that, Earl. Victor, you had your hand up there. Do you wish to add something?
Yeah, it was just basically come in as well in support of going down the road of the hunt process. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, as the nominating officer. Thanks for that, Victor. So the proposal is that we use the DeHunt system for the allocation of positions on the Ulster Scots Working Group and the Irish Language Working Group. All agreed?
Sorry, you come through the rest of the hands.
Sorry, I'm trying to get a proposal established first before there's any further discussion.
No, not agreed.
All agreed?
No.
Councillor Donnelly has raised an alternative proposal, Chair.
Point of order, Chair.
Go ahead, Seamus.
I believe that if there's any dispute that the hunt is the default position, am I right in that?
I believe you may be right, Councillor. I think you're entirely right. Bear with me.
Yes, Chair.
So as the councillor has indicated, as a point of order, the DeHunt system is the default system if there is disagreement. There is disagreement within the members, obviously, and I don't want you all to shout out now, but the ruling of the chair is that the DeHunt system has been agreed as the process of allocating the positions on the two working groups. Okay, members?
No, Chair, could I speak, please?
Sorry. No, that's that discussion over. The DeHunt system is now the default
for any other
Sorry, Councillor.
Why is this an issue now, Chair? And why are parties that were previously supportive of inclusion now excluding independence?
Sorry, member. As has just been indicated, when there is discontent within the membership, the hunt is the default system.
Yes,
that's
Chair,
the
there's no reason why there can't be agreement on
I
this.
can't give you the but why answer, but I can give you the answer as I just already did. The hunt system is the default system.
And it doesn't work, Chair.
Sorry, it doesn't work. to your end. Is that what
It
you're
doesn't work
indicating,
for
member?
myself or the other independent or single member parties. Absolutely,
Well,
yes. It works for your party, yes.
Sorry, it's not my party. It's a political party. I don't own it. The people
Chair,
own
it
it.
works
The
for
people
your party.
and the people vote for the representation that's on this council. Now,
Chair, as the first person
reflecting
elected
on
in
that,
IDEA, I'm well aware of that.
it
Chair,
doesn't
can we
matter.
move on,
Your
please? Chair.
political, that is, I must take that. That's
Chair,
under
this exclusionary behaviour is not
16.4 of
good.
the Code of Conduct. I must move on. I've had a proposal and a second to move on. Thank you, member.
Well, I'm recording my
Please do,
dissent at
Chair.
the
Please
exclusion,
move on.
Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Chair, just before we move on, the last two positions on the Ulster Scots working group are Councillor Keenan and Councillor Swift. I think both have indicated that I know Councillor Keenan nominated Councillor Coffey, and Councillor Swift said that she didn't have the ability, time availability to sit on it. If that is the case, that both members cannot sit on the Ulster Scots working policy, then we move on to positions 73 and 74, which would be an extra member for the Democratic Unionist Party and an extra member for the Ulster Unionist Party.
Chair, could I please clarify who the members currently nominated are for the groups? Because my understanding is, I think Stephen of the Alliance was one, but to my understanding, there are probably independent members who maybe got more of a vote than Mr. Donnelly. Was it just whoever shouted in first, or is there a list there? Do you have a list available of who's?
Well, it's certainly not who shouted in first, and it's certainly not my decision. There are officers dictating and overlooking that official method of the hunt, and that is as was agreed.
And Chair, if I could
Chief
maybe
Executive.
just add, members will have seen the full DeHunt schedule. It was attached at the annual meeting papers, and it's essentially a spreadsheet broken down, and it allocates each position in relation to DeHunt, and that is the schedule that the director has been referencing throughout the discussion.
And just to clarify, Emmett, I come top of that list before any of you with the majority.
Bernice, just through the chair, Bernice, please.
I thought John was top.
Sorry, members, I will not allow a free-flowing conversation. Through the chair, please.
Well, John's not there anymore, Emmett.
Sorry.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sorry, members.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Please,
but
bear with me.
I think, Chairman, sorry, John McCluskey got the most votes, and I think I'm starting in for him. So I think by DeHunt, it should be myself, not Stephen Donnelly.
You were in Eamon, I believe, and then you withdrew. Well, bear with me.
Yeah.
Just check that. No, I didn't.
Chair, I think John can certainly recap, but I think we need to be quite clear. The schedule has already been tabled now on at least 2 occasions for the council, so members are fully aware of the detail and the outworking in relation where a co-opted councillor comes in. I think the phrase that's used is they fill the shoes, so they literally take the entitlement of the elected councillor on the day of the election.
Thanks for that clarification, Alison.
And
sorry, Bernice. Now we're trying to move this on because
very swiftly. It was just for clarification, and I did receive that spreadsheet and was fully aware of that. I thought what Stephen Donnelly was talking about when he said he reached out. I definitely didn't receive that email, so hence the confusion. Gormagat.
Thanks for that, Bernice.
And a point of order again, Chair.
New point of order.
Yeah, just for clarity on this, it doesn't matter who came top of the independents. That position probably has been filled previously. So then it was down the next and the next and the next. So it could be the independent is torn that got the least votes, that is the next on the list, because the other ones has already been used up. Just to clarify.
Fair. Thanks for that clarification, Councillor Green. Alison's delighted you made that clear for her.
Chair.
Donald Coffey.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm very confused because the spreadsheet that was sent out to us was the information we received. It started at count number 49. Now, if you go for 12 after 49, you get up to number 60, and the next 12 then starts at 61, ends up in 72. The last 2 are McCluskey and Swift. The Alliance is not until number 80, so I don't know how they're included. So that's my first point. The second point is that this is rather unfortunate because we all have, many of us, an interest in developing the Irish language or else the Scots languages, and we're really being excluded because of this mechanism. And I don't see how it is fair that people who have been active in promoting languages in our council area for decades are now being excluded. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, if I can just come in there, just to confirm that Councillor Donnelly is not included in either of the working groups at this point in time.
Thanks for that, John. Now, I have Councillor Michael Duff. Your hand still raised, Barry?
Sorry, Chair, I'll just take the hand down. Go on, good.
Maybe other councillors have hands up. If you could remove them, please. If you've already spoken on this issue, you may as well remove them also.
Chair, I would like to support the proposal.
Sorry, I've just suggested if you've already spoken, you remove your hand. I didn't invite you in to speak. Councillor, if you bear with me to get the hands down.
I'm getting used to the exclusion there, Chair, yeah.
It's in line with the list in front of me, Councillor. There's no exclusion other than to wait your turn.
Or not be involved in groups that you want to get onto.
Sorry, Councillor, I'm not going to engage in a personal abuse across the airwaves to me.
That's not
personally.
personal, it's your party.
Well, it sounded very personal there, Councillor. Please have the manners to wait till you're invited by the chair to speak. Again. Councillor Blake, your hand's still up for quite a while there. Victor Waddington, I see your hand up, Victor, as leader of the group. I'll allow you in there now, Victor.
Sorry, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Well, it was just to add the third person until the agreement reached. Our third person onto both groups is Councillor Chris Smith. And can I just say, at the end of the day, if people don't like the hunt, we didn't make the ruling, and the ruling is where it is, and we are where we are. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Victor, and thanks for that other name. John.
Well, we have one position to fill on the Ulster Scots Policy Working Group, which, if again, when we've taken the decision, I think using the hunt, it would be a Democratic Unionist Party member.
Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman, and thank you for the clarification there, John. With regard to the Ulster Scots Policy Working Group, I'd like to add the name of Councillor Deborah Erskine to join Councillor Mark McKenna. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Earl. Thank you. I believe that's all the spaces filled under the hunt system. I'd just like to move on now, members.
Chairman.
Moving on, members.
Chairman, can I just ask a question, please?
Well, I'll allow you one more question, Eamon, just because of your newness to the chamber. Go on ahead.
I'm just a wee bit confused there about the Irish language group. What was the final decision there on the 12 members?
You wish them... If I could ask John maybe to recap on both groupings, now they are filled, read them out to the members, please.
There are 5 members from Sinn Féin, 3 members from the Ulster Unionist Party, 2 members from the Democratic Unionist Party, and 2 members from the SDLP Party sitting on the Irish Language Policy Working Group. On the Ulster Scots Policy Working Group, there are 5 members from Sinn Féin, 4 members from the Ulster Unionist Party, 2 members from the Democratic Unionist Party, 1 from the SDLP. Thank you, Chair.
Happy enough for that clarification, Eamon? Yeah. Thank you. Now, moving on to Ita. Sorry, where are we now?
Confidential, yes.
Right, moving on to confidential matters.
Going to committee.
Yeah, just could I have a proposal to go into committee, please?
In confidential business, members dealt with matters arising from confidential business of minutes of the RNC meeting on the 10th of March and the 8th of July, and also received a confidential report on the Gortin Glens Forest Park development.
Thanks for that summation, Kim.
Was there a second?
Proposed, Chair.
Sorry, who was that to propose?
Josephine Deehan.
Councillor Deehan, and a seconder for that report?
Councillor Irvine.
Councillor Irvine. Thank you, Robert. Well, members, I think that happily concludes the meeting of the Regeneration and Community. So thank you all for that.
Chair.
Who's
Chair,
that?
Alex Baird.
Alex Baird.
Yeah, I wonder, would you mind if I can just ask a question? I hope you don't mind me coming in like this. But just
nothing to do with the agenda, obviously, Alex, at this stage.
It's just a general point overall. In the adherence to the DeHunt principle, there were some dissensions, and I think one of them was Councillor Stephen Donnelly. Am I correct in that?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
I was just wondering, was that now Alliance policy not to adhere to Hunt, or was he doing a solo wrong?
Maybe that's a conversation you could carry on with Councillor Stephen Donnelly on the airwaves yourself, Councillor. I don't think it's necessary to hold the members back. So
fair comment, Chair.
Fair enough comment, Alex. You missed your opportunity during the discussion. You would have enjoyed it at the time, but you've had your moment of glory there, Alex. Thanks for that. Everybody,
I completely agree with you, Chair.
Everybody go and take a break for an hour or so, and look forward to meeting you all at 7 o'clock. Thank
you, Chair. See you later.
Well done, Chair. It's good to get this committee